What's up, guys? We're back with another Masters of the Universe Revelation Masterverse. I am never going to get the hang of saying all of that. And we're taking a look at what is surprisingly my most anticipated figure in this wave, Evil-Lyn. Because up until now, everything I've seen of this figure just screams a good female figure, or just a good figure in general. I've really been curious to see what they did here, because all of the promo shots and the pictures of some of the folks that already have this figure just look so good. She looks so much improved from what I would expect a Masters of the Universe female figure to be in general. So I'm pretty excited for this one, not to mention the fact she comes with a ton of cool stuff. So we've got her here in the standard figure box for Wave 1, and I guess going forward, right? Figure in the window, Revelation and Masterverse call out on the top and the bottom, and then you've got those blue hieroglyphics all over the packaging. We've got a shot of Evil-Lyn, casting a spell along the spine, and then the back of the box has her kind of showcasing all of her powers with kind of like a space Eternian night theme motif almost in the back. And then you've got a new bio for her, as well as our Wave 1 cross-sell down on the bottom. So let's do it. Let's pull her out and take a look. And here we go. Out of the package are a Revelation Evil-Lyn. And I guess I'll go ahead and just start the review by saying, really, this is the best figure in the wave. And I could not be more surprised that I'm saying that. And it's not because it's a female figure, and it's not because it's Evil-Lyn, it's just because this figure is so well executed at just every level. And this figure is giving me a little bit of an increased appreciation, I suppose, for this redesign for Evil-Lyn. I was fine with it from the beginning when we first saw her new look going forward in the show, but it looks really good as an action figure, and frankly, Mattel just really killed this one in pretty much every respect, from the look to the articulation to the sheer amount of accessories she comes with. I mean, they really went all out. She is a little bit of a smaller figure than the rest of this wave, not a lot. We'll do some size comparisons, of course, but she, I don't know, maybe makes up for the slight size reduction, but there's just a whole bunch of stuff. So let's see what she can do, see how she moves around. There is one area on this figure that I think is a little limited, but it's nothing that's different than any other figure so far, and that's the head. She really can't look up or down too far. She looks down a little bit, but doesn't really look up. The ball peg is just really limited there. You do have some tilt side to side, and then you've got full rotation as well. It's just a little limited, and her extra head is even more limited because she's got her full flowing head of white hair to deal with, but that's a different story. We'll talk about that in a minute. Arms go out at the shoulders. They rotate. We've got our bicep swivel. Double jointed female arms with pinless elbows. So I'm really happy about that. It also looks really nice. You've got hinges and rotation at the wrist, nothing in the way there. We've got our torso, so a diaphragm cut, just like the rest of the figure. She goes backwards a little bit, she goes forwards a little bit, side to side, and then you can use that as a bit of rotation, but not a whole lot. Most of your rotation is going to be at the waist twist. The legs, thankfully, are not hindered by the skirt piece. They have slits down both sides, so they go all the way out. You're probably not going to need to do that, but they can. They go all the way forward, and then of course they are going to be hindered going backwards, but she can still kick them back a little bit. You've got your thigh twist up there. We've got double jointed knees. These are of course going to be hindered a little bit. You're going to bunch things up, but they go all the way back if you need them to. You've got your boot cut shin swivel. Rocker goes all the way around basically, and then we've got our hinge, and it's incredibly well done. There is a lot of movement there because of the way they cut the sort of wrinkles of the boots. So she has probably the best articulation in this wave. Like, there's really nothing on this figure that I think is truly amiss here, except for the fact that the head is a little limited. But it's no different than the rest of these figures. And she's just so fluid, and she moves so well, and really nothing gets in the way. And they made sure to think about the slits down the side of the skirt piece so it wouldn't bunch her up too bad. She really just moves well and nicely and easily right out of the box. Aesthetically, though, I'm even happier with this figure because, well, this is not classic Evil-Lyn, and that's not really a problem for me here. I'm assuming that we'll probably get one because they are seemingly switching in and out between classic and what they're calling the modern look for these characters, as we've seen with, well, her, and then what the listings for Wave 2 show. I suspect we'll get a classic one, the big battle that starts the show off. but I actually like this look for her. It is a bit of a departure. She is very clothed, you know, she's normally, you know, half naked almost, but I think this figure is probably a benchmark for what we can expect with a lot of other figures. I'm really curious to see how Teela's modern look translates into figure form after getting my hands on this one, because honestly, I think Mattel absolutely killed it. I think it looks fantastic. This is the best looking figure in the wave to me, and really it's the best figure on just across the board. Articulation, looks, overall deco, quality, and then accessories. But I really like this look. I like the color scheme. It very much fits her still. It's still sort of that trademark Evil-Lyn color scheme. So lots of grays, and then sort of navy blues, and then different blues. But the colors are nicely done. There's texture all over her sort of skirt piece here, texture on the torso. We do still have the weird torso sort of skin texture thing, so the little bit of skin that she has peeking through her collar there is textured, and I just don't understand why. It doesn't matter here because you can barely see it, but it's there, and it's really weird. I do think proportionally she's really nicely done. Evil-Lyn has maybe been working out a little bit. She looks a little bit more buff, but I'm pretty happy with it. I mean, she looks like she's about to throw down, and this is an Evil-Lyn that I would definitely not want to mess with. I think her costume translates into a figure really, really nicely because she is clothed, of course. So there's a lot of just sort of blank skin plastic that you don't have to deal with on this figure. And the arms, although mostly naked, are sculpted really well. She's kind of svelte, you know, so she's not super buff, but she's not super thin and wafy either. And I just think she looks fantastic. This translated really nicely into figure form. Paint is really clean and crisp across the board. And ultimately, what really clinches it for this figure is this head sculpt. This looks so good. I mean, we've got what I think is kind of a goofy looking He-Man head sculpt in this wave, but compared to this, it's so different how much quality and like care and control went into making this. She looks evil and, you know, just sort of nasty and like she's about to throw down again. We've got a very classic looking Evil-Lyn headdress up there with the grays and the navy blue and the skull on the top, but it's all about the eyes and the different colors on the lipstick, the eyeshadow that's around her eyes, and then those arched eyebrows. It's just a really, really well done female head sculpt that is topped off with a nice coating of paint. They really went to town to make sure that they did not mess this one up, because it'd be really easy to screw this head sculpt up with just a ton of haphazard paint, and that is not what we got here. I'm really happy with the overall design, with the overall execution, but it's really about this head sculpt. It tops off a already fantastic figure and makes it into something so much nicer. And then of course a size comparison, and well, we got to start with Evil-Lyn's. So we've got Origins on the left, Classics on the right, and you can see what she looks like next to the Origins figure, and then of course scaled to a Classics figure, outside of the fact that of course they're yellow compared to a, you know, actual normal style flesh tone. You can see that there are a few similarities. It's mostly just the headdress, really, that kind of ties it all together. But it's interesting to note that this figure, in comparison to her Classics counterpart, is not necessarily towering over her, and isn't even that much bigger, if at all. Honestly, I think the Classics version is still bigger overall in terms of just mass and how much plastic is used. She's not as svelte as our Revelation Evil-Lyn is, but they're very comparable. It's not exactly the same in any capacity as, say, He-Man compared to Classics, where he basically towers over him by like a head almost. So there is a definite scale difference when it comes to the ladies versus the men. And then, of course, we'll do some other stuff, so we'll move that Lyn aside. And then here is Storm Shadow from G.I. Joe Classified, so a 6-inch Hasbro figure. They're pretty comparable in size, but of course this doesn't exactly scale. And then we'll go with another smaller figure, so here's a Plunderling next to Evil-Lyn. And then here she is with the SH Figuarts Goku. And then a actual male MOTU Classics figure. So here she is with the Slime Pit He-Man. So you can see that she is still very much sized right when it comes to height, as far as what's different between the Masterverse and Classics. But she's still a very small figure by comparison in a lot of other ways, if that really makes any sense. And then let's throw one more in. So we've got a female figure from Hasbro. So there is the Black Series Bo-Katan, and you can see when you've got her next to a 6-inch scale female figure, it becomes quite obvious just how big she is. She's still quite a big figure by a lot of other standards, but she is definitely on the slightly smaller side when it comes to this particular line. And then as far as accessories goes, she is really stacked. Like, there's a lot of stuff in this package, honestly. The biggest thing for me is this head sculpt that she has, because I just love this. So you've got her super stark white hair, and she's got a bit of a scowl going. So she is definitely unhappy. She looks like she's about ready to throw down. I suspect that we're going to see her a lot like this in the show. That's just my guess anyway, as they kind of skew more towards these quote-unquote modern designs that they're working off of. But I really like this. It maybe makes her less identifiable as Evil-Lyn, because of course the headdress that she has is a bit of a hallmark. I mean, that's definitely Evil-Lyn right there. You wouldn't have any issue picking her out of a lineup or anything. But I do really like this head sculpt. I think it's really well done. Paint, sculpt, the whole deal is just as good on this head as the other. And then I really like the hair sculpt, the way it drapes over top of her clothing in particular. She also comes with a smattering of hands. So out of the box, you've got a gripping hand on her left and kind of a spellcasting hand on the right. You get the opposites in the box, so a spellcasting left, a gripping right, and then you also get a set of fists too. So she has 6 total hands in this package. We get her kind of satchel purse, which I don't really know what this is used for yet, because obviously still haven't seen the show. But you can put this on her to have her carry her magic paraphernalia or whatever. And then we've got her wand, her scepter. So you've got the sort of shortened version here with the sort of purple bauble at the end. It's just sort of a, it's not like super dull, but it's got a little bit of a sparkle to it when it comes to this gray. There is this loop on her belt, which I assume you can put this on. Looks kind of funny to me like that though, so I'm not entirely sure if that's correct. And then we also get the fully extended version, which is almost as tall as she is, and it's just the same thing, just longer. So you've got these two here. It's basically the extended version of the scepter, the wand. But I'm really happy that we have both versions, and that it doesn't have to be like a telescoping thing, so it's just ready to go. So honestly, she is more stacked than He-Man, more stacked than Skeletor. Mossman has kind of the same amount of stuff, but I think this, in terms of plastic anyway, but I think she has the biggest and most complete package. All these hands, this extra head sculpt is absolutely killing it. And then of course the 2 scepters. She has just a lot of stuff going on, and it's all really nicely done. So yeah, I mean, I've said it a number of times, this is the best figure in the wave. I don't know if there's going to be much room for debate on that for me. Skeletor is probably a close second, but Evil-Lyn is so good, and a lot of that is because it's so surprising to see a female figure executed so well. And I don't want that to sound weird, but it's not all that common across the board, and I think Mattel did just a stellar job on this one. This design translated into plastic is executed incredibly well. Paint is nicely done, sculpt is fantastic, love the head sculpt, and she comes with a tremendous amount of accessories, especially compared to everybody else. The only thing I think she's missing is an effect piece of some kind for, a magic effect, but there's so much other stuff in the box that I almost don't feel like it's worth complaining. 4 extra hands, 2 staffs, and an extra head sculpt, and the bag. I mean, she's absolutely loaded, and again, it's weird to say, but this is the figure to get in this wave for me. So that's going to do it for this look at the Masters of the Universe Masterverse Revelation Evil-Lyn. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and until next time.